Hello friends. We're out for a walk and it's not a day I would ordinarily make a video because I'm not feeling very uplifting and I don't like the idea of contributing to the negative vibe in the world. But I also made a promise to myself, which is to say a promise to you, that I was going to make a video every day, even if it was just to say today's a day for gaining wisdom, and that's forward motion, and so I'll take it and I'll be grateful. And today's a day for gaining wisdom, and I'll take it and I'm grateful. Try to say a little bit more though, because it's a teaching moment for me, and I would be dead if not for teaching moments. So, when I went off my medication 4 years ago, 4 years in February, I was on a cocktail for ADHD and bipolar and escalating OCD. All of those labels and diagnoses are just, in my opinion, are just a way of saying that I had developed coping mechanisms as a child and as a young adult that didn't set me up well for the decisions that I made half conscious, maybe not even conscious, and that, the more uncomfortable my life got, the more miserable I became, the more I acted out, and the more of a mess my life became, and the more miserable I got. It doesn't seem clear to me that I should have been on medication for that, but we do the best that we can where we are with what we have, including doctors. And so my doctors were doing their best, I was doing my best, and I was on a whole bunch of medication that was making me fat and miserable and very nearly suicidal and monstrously self-destructive. So I went off my medication and decided to just try this on my own, remembering that once upon a time I knew how to be happy. Once upon a time I was vibrant. I loved life and I loved people. And I was kind then, and I was compassionate and I was inclusive. And I was able to bring people together, and making friends was, as easy as walking. And bringing friends together and, that kind of thing. Community was once something that I was extremely good at. And leadership, I was always a leader, just by nature, because I'm a problem solver. And I think that's how you end up becoming a leader, is you see a problem and you realize that it has to be solved, and so you just set about trying to figure out how to solve it. And when you make up your mind to something like that, then you radiate that energy, and people naturally want to follow you because, it's not easy to solve problems. It's simple once you recognize that everything is the same at its core, and that all the big things in the world are just small things amplified, and that the same basic principles apply to everything. Energetic bodies in motion, and that we're dealing with elemental truths that we neither comprehend nor honor, and that makes our lives infinitely messy and complicated and terrifying, and we become debilitated. So I guess we're going in the woods. Should we just start heading for the woods? When I went off my medication, it was one of those, I don't really think I had a choice, because I was getting worse, not better, and doctors that see you for 15 minutes every 6 months, if that, they're just, you're asking too much of them to ask them to figure it out for you. And so I decided to figure it out for myself. And um, I did then, and I do now. Not reject is too strong of a word, but I don't accept the diagnosis of bipolar because, I was having some serious depression that made a lot of sense, the circumstances in my life. Parental suicide is no joke, and it made sense I'd be sad. And then I went on these medications I went on this one particular medication named Cymbalta. Cymbalta was no good for me, no bueno. Made me very manic. And, I've had a manic side to myself ever since. But the biggest thing is that I just seem to have a sort of low-grade mood dysregulation that exists that I'm still working on. And I say low-grade because it's not intense like it used to be. That's a victory. That's a huge victory. Now, the reason why I'm making this video today is because I'm not trying to make it seem as if every single day is just sunshine and roses and that I never struggle, because the whole point of making these videos is I'm trying to tell people who are suffering as I suffered, or in any way, that it's possible to stop the suffering, and it's possible to dig your way out of whatever rubble you're under. It doesn't matter what the rubble is, you can dig your way out. I guarantee it. I absolutely 100% promise you that you can. You just have to decide that you're going to. You just have to decide that it's not that there's no other option, that you are going to dig yourself out of that rubble, and you are going to become a contributing member of the world, And for me, that starts and ends with purpose, and my purpose is to make sure that my kids have a chance at a good life, and to leave the world a little better than I found it, and to not be forced to sit by quietly while people are damaged and abused and mistreated in all the many, many ways that we're damaging and mistreating and abusing each other, and the ways in which our government is using our tax money and our name, and our might is our weight is a once mighty nation, and our base, to commit atrocities. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form okay with that. I thought for a while about moving out of the country, just being an expat, go someplace else and write a book and get a bohemian lover and just say fuck it, but I live in Seattle. I love this city. I'd like to go someplace warmer, but I don't like the rain, but I love the city, and I'm not going to leave until I've done something to bring back some of the beauty that I know is Shelby. My dog's making me bonkers. Anyway, so I feel like I'm on the Titanic. I think I've said that before. I want to slap the shit out of people who are moving the deck chairs around, but at the same time, I remember when I was moving deck chairs around. So there you go. Slap the shit out of myself, which I'm not opposed to in any way, shape, or form, by the way. But then what? And that's just the thing, is that we just keep slapping ourselves around, slapping each other around, and then we're just tired, and our face is all red, and we don't want to go outside, and yada, yada, yada. So I just keep getting up. That's all I'm trying to say. I just keep getting up. And, today it's a little overcast now. It was beautiful and sunny earlier. And I was just in my own way, I just was kind of, I was not really morose, but I couldn't get my mood right, And I strapped on my headphones and went to work on my attitude. I stepped on a twig. Had the music rocking, and that wasn't working, and that always works. If J.J. Gray or Andra Day or this new song by Jacob Banks, I was really pulling out all the stops. Almost had to bust out some Eminem, but I just don't give up until I find the point at which, I don't know, the activation point, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or something. My dog's cracking me up because she's just losing her ever-loving mind. There's so much to smell. She's just turning around like a little fiend. She's practically dragging me up this hill. It's pretty funny. Little tiny dog. I think she's a badass. I'm going to turn the camera around because she's way funnier and more interesting than I am. And then, well, let's let her go potty first. But, so, I guess what I'm saying is that it's 3 o'clock. I wish I had gone out to walk earlier. But, you know, wish in one hand and pee in the other and see which one's wet. So, speaking of pee. And yet, I'm going to end the day. The day will be a victory before it's over. And that's what matters. That's what matters. If I can do that every day, then incrementally, I dig my way out of the rubble that I was buried under based on my poor choices or my ill-informed choices. And in this way, I own my day. I also own my destiny, and I own my life. And, you know, even when days are hard, parts of days are hard, overall, there's a victory. I didn't have that before. Everything was either, you know, sort of dull and I was numb, or I was just in a mental fog. But there were no sharp edges, you know. I had taken all the sharp edges off of my life. And so there really wasn't any point in anything. And I wasn't working towards anything. And now I'm working towards something every single day, which is to become worthy of the full responsibility of which I'm capable. That's all I want to do. I want to be worthy of the full responsibility of which I'm capable. I can't see that anything else is worth doing, is worth pursuing, especially right now. And especially now that my kids are basically raised. And, Thomas, you know, and it occurred to me briefly when I realized that my full-time parenting job was ending. It occurred to me to just feel good and sorry for myself because, you know, I don't know why, because I didn't like the reality of who I had become while I was doing all of that child raising. And I didn't want to live with myself the rest of my life. And so I wanted to feel sorry for myself because here I'd been raising these kids, most of whom weren't even mine. And now they're off living their lives, which is what I wanted for them. And what am I left with? Well, nothing. But whose fault is that? Whose responsibility is that? Mine. And so, I had those few minutes of self-pity. Well, they're more than a few minutes. But the point is, I didn't stay there. And at that point, I wasn't to the boomeranging. I didn't have the boomeranging skill that I have now, which is when I get down on myself or I have those moments, those weak moments, I come back harder. I come back stronger. And this is how I do that. I ask myself, is this it? Are you done? Is this the thing that's going to beat you? Are all those people, was that all bullshit? You don't care about all those people? All those people that you know are right behind you, that are struggling along behind you, that are dying for a sign that there's light up ahead? Are you done trying to shine the light back? Really? So that was all bullshit. You didn't mean a word of it. You haven't really been trying to get to a place where you could help those people. What you really were doing was trying to save your own skin, or trying to save your own reputation, or trying to feel good. So you're no better than the collective energy of the universe that's dragging us all down into despair and hopelessness and self-destruction. Nihilism. And I say, of course not. Of course, no. I'm not done. I'm not done. And then that little voice says, well, then get up. Get the fuck up, because you're wasting time. And you may have time to waste, but I guarantee you that some of those people that you say that you care about do not have time. Somebody's going to die while you sit here getting a ring around your butt on your pity potty. So get up off your ass and do something good with the day. So that's what I'm doing today. And I want you to know that it works. Okay, it doesn't always feel good. In fact, it often feels like hell. But when it doesn't feel like hell, it feels like victory. It feels like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like when you think you're walking towards an oasis, but you find that there's really a tiki bar. That's what this feels like most of the time, truly. It feels like that so strongly that even when I'm having a day that kicks me back into my monkey brain, which I don't particularly care for, even when I go back into primitive thinking, and I find myself in familiar darkness, I can still almost kind of, hang on, we gotta go. She of course didn't make this easy. Also, I catch myself because I don't want to have to. It's like in a video game. I spend a lot of time watching my kids play video games because that's when they are doing it. You know, we kick songs back and forth to each other over text, and you know, we watch John Mulaney and we walk the dog together. We do a lot of things, but also when they play their video games, as long as they're not on, like if my younger son's not on chat with his friends, which I love it when he is, I hang out and watch and ask questions and just basically be a big dork. And they tell me things, and I'm amazed by how much games mimic life. And some of these game companies really are trying hard to say things that we don't understand what they're saying. You know, like my son's playing Persona 5 right now, Strikers, and it's all about, it's just like Carl Jung personified right there. It's all about embracing your shadow and becoming actualized and becoming a master of self, integrated whole, so that you can be a force for good in the world and be a link to solutions, you know, so you can help people find the solutions for themselves, you know, what will work for them. And you have to first embrace your darkness. So that's what that game's all about. And it's unbelievably well made, and just, it's so impressive. And I see a lot of little things, and I'll mention them, and he kind of looks at me like, no, it's just, you know, and he recognizes some of it, but some of it, he's like, nah, it's just a game. But you're not quite that simplistic, but sometimes I try to draw a parallel, and he doesn't, but he's almost 16, you know, but, so, I say, yeah, I know, bud. I'm just being me, that's what I say. I'm just being me, I can't be anything other than me. And I see everything through the lens of, how does this help? How does this hurt? How does this build? How does this destroy? And this dog, Shelby. So, at the end of the day, I just want you to know that, Shelby, come here. Nothing and no one is ever a lost cause. And that every single day, no matter what happens, I'm going to be out here trying to figure out how to shine a little brighter